Gurmil Magut Alaskion Corla, and thank you to Deputy O'Callaghan and his colleagues from the Social Democrats for tabling this motion. I formally move the government counter motion and wish to address a number of the points that have been raised. As recognised in our Housing Plan Housing for All strategy, we all know there is a crisis in housing affecting ordinary working people who aspire to the security of home ownership, which demands a response from government at an unprecedented scale. It means doing things. Ireland is experiencing an acute gap between housing supply and demand, which is exacerbated by the economic effects of COVID-19, global supply chain disruption, which requires, in line with Housing for All's 4 pathways, short, medium and longer-term state interventions. Increased supply of social, affordable and indeed market-supplied housing is key to the solution to Ireland's housing crisis. Meeting strong demand for urban living, with people wanting to live close to work and urban amenities, requires action to ensure that we have developments at scale within our cities, particularly those that are close to transport connections and existing infrastructure and services, compact urban growth. There's a dearth of supply of apartments to buy in our core urban cores, but there are high numbers of planning permissions already granted that could meet much of this supply if it were activated. Housing for All will deliver 300,000 new homes by the end of 2030. 90,000 social homes, new builds, 9,000 this year, the single biggest amount of social homes delivered in any year in the history of the state. That's a fact. And 90,000 between now and 2030. 36,000 affordable at least, and 18,000 cost rental at least. It represents record levels of state investment in housing, with over €4 billion per annum. Supply pipeline is strong, thankfully. We'd nearly 5,700 new homes delivered in Q1 this year, the most in any first quarter since this official CSO statistic began back in 2011, and over 22,000 home completions in the last 4 quarters. With nearly 35,000 new homes commenced in the 12 months to March 2022, again the highest 12-month rolling total since these figures were collated. Over 32,700 first-time buyers have been supported into home ownership by the Help to Buy scheme since 2017, which we have continued. The government is commitment to supporting home ownership through a range of targeted measures, including the delivery of housing, in partnership with our local authorities, which we're doing, and doing this year, the Land Development Agency, which we're doing, approved housing bodies, and indeed, yes, the private industry. The government are committed to achieving more compact urban growth, vibrant livable cities, with a greater range of options for both owner-occupiers and renters in our cities of all income levels, which as a first step requires that stalled apartment developments with planning permissions are put in place and are occupied. The Land Development Agency plans to deliver affordable homes, with construction to begin this year on over 800 new homes. Planning permissions recently lodged in the last few weeks for a further 2,300 homes on state land, and proposals under Project Tussie, which is about activating unactivated planning permissions as well, and partnering within the sector to deliver 5,000 new affordable and social homes by 2026 through engagement with the sector to unlock land with full planning permission that is not being developed due to financing. It's estimated, colleagues, that there are 70,000 uncommenced planning permissions in our 5 main cities of Cork, Dublin, Limerick, Galway and Waterford. And the figure of unactivated permissions in Dublin alone is approximately 40,000, which is about 4 years of housing supply in this capital. And the Croí Cónaithe Cities scheme will help to activate the build-to-sell portion of these figures. The Croí Cónaithe Cities scheme will deliver up to 5,000 apartments by 2026 for people to buy. It will help increase the supply of new apartments in these cities by activating the construction of apartments that already have planning permission. The scheme will support the construction of apartment schemes where there is a proven viability gap between the cost of constructing an apartment and the apartment's open market value, if that market value is lower than the cost of constructing. The planned scheme is a short to medium-term measure. It's time-bound and it's aimed at increasing supply of apartments for homeowners. It will increase the choice of homes available to buy and ultimately free up supply in the private rental market. I want to be very clear on this point. The benefit of the proposed support goes to the owner-occupier, the purchaser, who is enabled to buy an apartment in a core urban location which would not otherwise have been built at a price below the development cost. Fact. To give deputies across a particular example, where an apartment costs $350,000 to develop, but the market rate is $250,000, the person buying it will pay $250,000. Better still, they can use the Help to Buy grant to make them eligible for their deposit. Should they wish, they can use the government's soon-to-be-launched First Home Shared Equity Scheme, which again you oppose, and that's fine, that's your right. Deputies across who are calling for this to be scrapped obviously don't want individuals living in our city centres. You don't want compact urban growth or 15-minute cities. Through a range of measures, the government is incentivising supply of different tenures: social, affordable, private rental and private ownership. We're investing in new build social schemes like never before, delivering affordable housing to buy and rent, and introducing measures to incentivise the building of homes for owner-occupiers. The support payable per apartment will be the viability gap calculated for each apartment, and we've detailed that very, very clearly, and that's exactly what will happen. It's important to emphasise that it is anticipated that targeted supports will differ across a range of different apartment types. So for one-bedroom apartments where the viability has been proven that there's a viability gap, between 25 and 60,000. Between 60 and 85,000 for two-bedroom apartments, and up to 120,000 for 2 to 3 bedroom apartments. And where does that support go? It goes to the purchaser, the owner-occupier, with exacting conditions that are there and proposals through expression of interest on an open book basis. Simple as that, and it is a quick and efficient way of activating dormant permissions within our cities that all of you will know. The Social Democrats, I would say, and I thank you for tabling the motion because it allows us to outline the government position. You voted against all government legislation. So I know very clearly what you're against. I have very little clue for what you're for. You're against build to rent, and now apparently you're against build to buy. You're against the Help to Buy scheme, which has supported 30,000 homeowners to get their deposit together to purchase their own home. You're opposed to that. This is the same Help to Buy scheme that would be available along with this measure, meaning that people who are stuck in the very rental trap that we're talking about, or living at home with their parents, are going to be able to own their own home at an affordable rate. You're also against the First Home Shared Equity Scheme, which can be used alongside this initiative or for all new builds, and not just for first-time buyers, for those in a Fresh Start principle. But you're opposed to that too, a scheme that's going to launch on the 1st of July this year, that is going to help people bridge the gap between the finance they have and the finance that they need by the state stepping in and taking that equity, not a second mortgage, as some of you claimed last year when it was launched. You continuously, and rightly so, call for state lands to be used to build homes, but you're against the Land Development Agency, which was set up and we've legislated for and funded specifically for that purpose. So you say you want homes built on state lands, you vote against the legislation. Deputy O'Callaghan, you and yourself and your party are against home ownership, affordable and cost rental. As you know, your own colleague voted against 1,200 new homes in Ballinamastone and Donabate, 253 affordable, 253 social, and you opposed it, and that's fine. The record's there for what the Social Democrats will do. Only your co-leader, Deputy Shortall, just last week was actually posting her regret online of an application for 99 apartments in her own constituency. That's awful, isn't it, that we're building new apartments? But she posts her regret that this is happening. I think you've got to answer, are you really against home ownership? Because it appears that you are. We're already ensuring that we can activate uncommenced planning permissions. And the only comment I've seen from the Social Democrats is in a paper where you mention the use it or lose it provision, which we're doing already. We want to pull all levers available to provide homes for people, and that includes short, medium and longer term measures whilst we're delivering the supply which is happening. I support home ownership, I support social housing. I don't vote against it. I don't vote against the legislation that's brought here. I don't vote against the budgets that we brought in place to deliver housing at a scale that has never been seen before. We're proposing it, we're working it through, and we're seeing that supply being activated in a very difficult time for our people. So I know what the Social Democrats are against, and I take it from the motion that you've tabled here. There's nothing to do with a gift. It's an assistance and a support to the homeowner, to the purchaser. So let's be honest with people there. So clearly from the measures that you have taken across all Affordable Housing Act you opposed, Land Development Agency Act, any new initiative you oppose, because you do not want to see progress. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Thank you.